My name is J. Frederick Armit, and I am chair and lead facilitator of International Cities of Peace, and we have a tremendous program that we're developing. And the reason we're developing it uh, is because the world is shifting in terms of how we provide support to people around the world. With the recent changes in government aid and how NGOs, non-governmental organizations, are trying to respond to the natural disasters and the war and the poverty around the world, there is a beacon of hope, and that is corporate social responsibility, CSR, which is a decades-old movement of good business practices, but which today is rising with new importance and a new purpose. And many liaisons from cities of peace around the world have been successful in getting support from foundations, governments, and private donors. Yet it is becoming harder and harder to find support. Support, as we will discuss, comes in many forms, and that is one of the most important facts that our speaker will illuminate today. At the end of Ms. Jane's presentation, I will be offering to all the City of Peace leaders an opportunity to join our beta test team for ICP's Corporate Connect program. So I'd like to introduce you to our friend and colleague, Ms. Susan Jane, who has created a path for us to follow. And Ms. Jane has excellent experience with CSR. After co-founding two technology startups, she joined IBM Corporation and served as a vice president. Her assignment took her overseas for 11 years and included responsibility for the company's marketing, communication, and corporate social responsibility CSR programs in Asia. So IBM was awarded the Golden Peacock Award for Excellence in CSR in India in 2011. And during her time there, the company's program were also recognized in Australia and other countries. She serves International Cities of Peace, thankfully, as co-facilitator for the ICP Corporate Connect program, along with David Wick, who I also want to thank today. Hello. If you would mind illuminating us, Miss Jane, on what you've created. And this is Miss Jane's creation, and I want to thank her immediately for that. But go ahead.
Well, and it's absolutely been a team effort, as you said, Fred. So some of you have seen this in earlier form. And so I want to thank everyone whose comments and feedback has enabled us to get to this point where we have something that we believe is ready to hit the road and ready to really start making a difference at a point in time when it's incredibly important. You know, as some sources of funding and aid are drying up, others are growing. You probably saw the announcements from Bill and Melinda Gates about reinforcing their giving away their fortunes in through their programs, and that's just one example. So our job is to help make the connections, as we say, with Corporate Connect, and Fred has his corporate jacket on today to help symbolize that and demystify it so that every city can be as successful as possible as tapping into this ready-made resource. So if you go ahead, Fred, um, here's an overview of what Corporate Connect is. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this or any individual slide, really. What I want to do is hit the high points. And then as you all have an opportunity to work with the material, again, hopefully it will help you move forward, and at the same time, we will continue to improve it. But this is sort of a virtuous, ready-made opportunity. I can't say that enough times. It is there, it is waiting, and they're waiting for us. That's the most beautiful part of it, and why I say that it's virtuous. But how do we actually make it happen? If you go on to the next page, Fred. Um, it's important to understand on not only what corporate social responsibility programs are, and here's some useful content, as well as reference to a Harvard Business School online article that is free and available and worth downloading and reading yourself if this is something you want to go into further. Because simply said, virtually every corporate social responsibility program is driven by its metrics, but its priorities include things that align with peace and our programs. So finding that connection point is critical and becomes a pathway to investments in our programs and the progression of our peace activities. If you go on to the next page, here are examples that CSR program priorities tend to fall into four kinds of categories. But again, if you think about what we're doing and what you are doing in every city, there are virtually ways to connect in to every corporation because their priorities will align with ours. Going on to the next page, too, one of our greatest strengths is, and we heard about this in the discussion of Naka Valley, for example, is the engagement that we have with youth. Um, Again, in IBM, one of my last initiatives and one of my hardest ones was to engage with youth across Africa. And I wish we'd known about International Cities of Peace at that point in time, because that would have been that ready-made connection point. I can't emphasize this enough that the connection to youth and the fact that youth are highly concentrated in certain parts of the world is an absolute strength of the International Cities of Peace. Doesn't mean it's the only thing, but it is one of our absolute resources. As corporates, in the end, they want to sell things. The social responsibility teams are responsible for more virtuous activities, but in the end, they work for companies that want to find their next round of consumers. And this shows where they're concentrated throughout the world. Going on then to the next page, if you can, Fred. It begins with identifying who the corporates are in your locality. And here's a bit of a guide on how to do that. But if we could go to the next page, I think it really brings it home because you see specific examples of multinationals with CSR programs that span the world. So going back to the Naka Valley discussion earlier, I would be amazed if Adidas, Puma, Nike did not want to help equip those soccer playing children in the programs there. But it's a matter of making that connection. And that's what we want to try to help to do through this program. So what we're trying to do here is, as I said, is to make it all easier. And this is a slide that would probably go to the CSR organizations to explain to them who we are. But as you go to the next slide, one of the points is that, again, there are benefits on both sides. And one thing that I'd like to emphasize at this point, too, is that when people think of corporate social responsibility programs, they pretty much immediately think of money. And money is a great asset. There's kind of nothing like money, particularly when it's disappearing from other programs and places. But money is just one thing that CSR programs can bring to the cities of peace. They can also bring trained volunteers. So, for example, we would provide people who would, for example, come into, could help you in your City of Peace program with doing marketing or doing financial planning or putting up your website, or those kinds of skills that exist in corporates. People who work for those companies are often rewarded to go out and do volunteer activity. As I mentioned, in-kind donations. So in IBM, we used to give away software. Microsoft does that. Oracle does that. Pretty much any IT company will give away software or free use of a cloud, for example, because again, that's, it's a win-win situation for them doing that. So again, money is, can be a primary goal in engaging with this with the corporation, but the access to their talent and the access to other things that they bring to the table may be just as important in the long term. Rotary can be part of this virtuous partnership as well. I mean, if you think about it, when you get the City of Peace, the corporates, Rotary, and local government, in the cases where it does get involved together, again, you have sort of the perfect combination. Down to simple things too, like business leaders are Rotary members. So for a City of Peace to engage with the local Rotary Club has ready-made, again, opportunities at even the simplest level. So how do you get started? And this is a page that we added after talking with some of you a couple of months ago, trying to make it really easy, almost checklist fashion, to say, here are the steps that you go through to get started. Identify the dating list of possible corporates that are active in your area, selecting the ones that seem to be the best fit, matching what they offer to what you can, benefit from having, and then strategize on the best way to contact them. And that's another place, again, where a Rotary and a partner with a local Rotary Club and its members could be very helpful, as well as simple things like looking on LinkedIn and finding common points to at least just open a conversation with someone. Make the initial contact and tell your story. Chapter 2 that we're preparing will provide more information on how to do this effectively and professionally, and be confident. As I said before, the company may need you as much as you think you need them. So walk in with confidence, and there's nothing to lose and everything to gain. And we're here to help success in that regard.
Great. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your expertise. This is a great boon to everyone on this call and the hundreds and hundreds of cities of peace around the world. This program will only grow. And I think once we get it established with this first beta team, and in order to be on the beta team, this is going to be good for some and maybe not so good for others, but you have to be with us for a year before you're able to be recommended by us. And we're well known around the world for making sure that we have vetted leaders, consistent people who actually work in the community. And so, the corporations, the foundations, all of those need to find people, no corruption, no personal endeavors, no egotism. These are the City of Peace leaders that we have. They're in situ peacemakers, and they are begging for authenticity and for credibility. And that's what we're providing. We're providing not just somebody contacts us and 2 months later we say, oh, well, they're great. Well, they probably are great. But if you start sending like quarterly updates of what you've been able to do in terms of the volunteer action within your company, within your City of Peace, that's what we need in order to recommend City of Peace leaders. So this is going to grow. Our initial team is going to be people that we know and that have really committed to the City of Peace ideal and bringing the whole community. But it'll be a program that is available to all City of Peace leaders. So one thing we want to, or actually two things we want to emphasize, we're going to provide resources like Danielle and some others help work on the how to write a summary for sending your need out to another organization. So we have how to write an executive summary, an executive study of what you need and how you're going to accomplish it. We need to raise the sophistication of people around the world, and every country in the world has people that with needs. Now, how do we position ourselves to be able to respond individually and tell our story? So that's what we're going to provide. Also, we want to emphasize volunteerism. If you don't have a good, solid volunteer team, nobody's going to be able to look at you, because if you're just after money, everybody will recognize that immediately. It's the volunteerism that creates credibility. It's the actual work you're doing in community. So we want to ensure you that we're going to do the best we can to provide resources and materials, but it's really up to you. And become involved. I put a couple of websites that one of them leads to creating a action plan so that we can present it to corporations. And the other one is actually the website, the web page where the Corporate Connect program can be viewed in its entirety. So thank you very much, Susan. Without you, the level of quality of this program could not be possible. So I appreciate it very much. We're going to contact people, and contact us if you think that your program deserves support in many different levels. Contact me, and we'll work to get you some at least awareness by some of the corporates and some of the foundations. So